It was a sunny Saturday afternoon when Daniel, a 35-year-old construction crew boss with a knack for fixing things, except, apparently, his marriage, decided to host a backyard barbecue. He'd been married to Jessica, a 33-year-old real estate agent with a smile that could sell a haunted house, for 8 years. To Daniel, life seemed pretty solid. No kids yet, but they'd tossed the idea around like a football at a tailgate. He was flipping burgers, worrying about nothing more serious than whether he'd bought enough ketchup, while Jessica had invited her friend Sarah and a handful of neighborhood couples over for some grilled goodness. Everything was going fine until Daniel, stationed at the grill like a suburban king, overheard something that made his spatula freeze mid-flip. Jessica and Sarah had wandered around the corner of the house, out of sight behind the shed, but close enough to the open kitchen window for their voices to carry like a bad karaoke performance. "Oh my gosh, Ryan is just—" Jessica's voice had that giddy tone Daniel hadn't heard since she'd spotted a clearance sale on throw pillows. "Last night was unreal. We ditched that boring open house early and went to his place." Daniel's brain short-circuited. Ryan, the slick new guy from the rival real estate office, the one who wore those overpriced sunglasses indoors like he was auditioning for a spy movie? Sarah giggled like a hyena on helium. "Girl, you're juggling dynamite! What if Daniel catches on?" Jessica snorted, a sound Daniel once found cute, but now sounded like a villain's laugh in a cartoon. "Please, I can cheat all I want. He's too clueless to notice. He actually bought that I was at a property tax workshop last weekend. Nope, me and Ryan were living it up at that fancy hotel downtown." The burger Daniel was flipping plummeted into the flames with a sad little sizzle. He barely noticed. Sarah piped up, "Still, be careful. Guys can surprise you." Jessica laughed again. "Not Daniel, trust me. I've got him eating out of my hand like he's auditioning for World's Most Oblivious Husband. Ryan gets me. He's ambitious, not some hammer-swinging dreamer." Ouch. Daniel gripped the grill tong so hard he could have bent steel. 8 years of marriage, and this was her real opinion of him? A clueless hammer-swinger? Now, a lesser man might have flipped the grill over, stormed out, and turned the BBQ into a reality TV showdown. But Daniel? Something clicked. She thought he was dumb? Fine. He'd play the part of the oblivious burger-flipping fool while plotting something epic. He finished cooking, handed Jessica her burger with a grin so wide it could have been on a cereal box, and started scheming. As the party wound down, he was already imagining the look on her face when she realized Clueless was just his Oscar-worthy performance. For the next few weeks, Daniel turned Clueless husband into a full-time gig. Jessica would breeze out the door for her so-called client meetings at odd hours, her phone now permanently face down like it was hiding state secrets. She'd even changed her passwords, probably thinking she was a mastermind. What she didn't know? Daniel had access to their shared cloud account, because who needs a spy gadget when your wife forgets to log out? Deleted photos of her and Ryan sipping cocktails? Check. Backed up messages where she gushed about her ambitious sidekick? Double check. It was like Jessica was handing him a treasure map labeled, "How to Catch Me Cheating." One night she came home late, claiming a work emergency involving a flooded basement. Daniel just nodded, channeling his inner golden retriever. "That's rough, babe. Want me to heat up some pizza rolls?" She blinked, almost disappointed he didn't grill her like one of his burgers. That's when he knew he'd nailed the act. His sister Emily was his secret weapon through it all. When he spilled the beans about Jessica's backyard confession, Emily grabbed a baseball bat, ready to storm the house. "Let me at her," she barked. Daniel waved her off. "Nah, sis, I've got a better plan. Think slow-cooked revenge, not microwave drama." Emily sighed. "Just don't let it fry your brain, okay?" He grinned. "Too late. I'm already sizzling." Jessica was getting sloppy. She started taking private calls in the backyard, not realizing the bedroom window was cracked open. Daniel caught her giggling with Ryan, planning their next escapade. During dinner, she even showed him Ryan's business profile on her phone. tall, flashy smile, sunglasses perched on his head like a crown. "He's got these amazing investment properties," she bragged. Daniel smiled so hard his cheeks hurt. "Sweet. More commission for you, right?" She rolled her eyes when he looked down at his mashed potatoes, probably thinking he'd miss a neon sign saying, "I'm cheating," flashing above her head. The real jackpot came when Daniel accidentally took Jessica's car to grab groceries. She freaked out, screeching, "Why didn't you ask me first?" He played dumb as a bag of hammers. "Oh, I thought your meetings were virtual today." Her face went from ghost white to tomato red in record time. Later, he handed her a hotel bar receipt he'd found in the cup holder. "Oops, you dropped this." She snatched it, muttering about him messing with her stuff, while Daniel mentally high-fived himself. Meanwhile, he'd been quietly moving money into a separate account. Small amounts, nothing suspicious. Jessica was too busy strutting around in her booming career to notice her clueless husband was outsmarting her at her own game. Then came the morning he overheard another backyard call. Jessica was cackling with Sarah. "Daniel's such a pushover. He actually believes I'm at a real estate seminar this weekend. Ryan's booked us the presidential suite." They laughed like they'd invented comedy. Daniel smirked from the kitchen, sipping his coffee. Oh, she had no idea. He'd already booked a room at the same hotel, not to confront them, but to snap the final pieces of his evidence puzzle. His lawyer, yep, he'd hired one, gave him a thumbs up. "You're doing this like a pro. Calm, smart, legal." Daniel wasn't after a quick shouting match. He wanted Jessica's smug little world to implode, one carefully placed domino at a time. The seminar weekend was coming, and Jessica was being extra sweet, probably guilt-seasoning her lies. She made his favorite pancakes, chirping, "Wish you could come, but it's pros only." He kissed her cheek. "Have fun, babe." Her relieved smile? Almost tragic. The big day arrived like a storm cloud Jessica couldn't see coming. She woke up buzzing with excitement, thinking she was about to close a massive deal on 3 properties, her ticket to real estate glory. Daniel watched her flit around the house, adjusting her fancy new blazer, probably bought with dreams of Ryan's approval. She gave him a quick peck on the cheek, flashed her usual "love you, babe," now as fake as a $3 bill, and zoomed off in her car. The second her taillights vanished, Daniel cracked open his laptop like a supervillain revealing his master plan. He'd prepared 3 emails, each a little bomb of truth. The first went to Jessica's boss, complete with screenshots of her texts with Ryan about using house tours as a cover for their rendezvous. The second hit her entire client list. Turns out, Jessica had logged into her work email on their shared tablet, leaving Daniel the keys to her kingdom. The third, a special delivery to Sarah with a recording of Jessica. While gathering evidence, Daniel recorded a backyard call where Jessica chatted with another friend, Lisa, mocking Sarah's husband as a boring safety net and laughing about how Sarah had no clue about her own marriage. That damning clip, dripping with Jessica's smug tone, was the third email Daniel sent. Oof, friendship over in 3, 2, 1. Daniel leaned back, sipping his coffee, and waited for the chaos to unfold. It took 47 minutes. Impressive, really. His phone lit up like a Christmas tree. First came Jessica's text, "Why can't I log into my work email?" He ignored it, picturing her frantically refreshing her inbox. Then Sarah unleashed a tirade in the neighborhood group chat, calling Jessica words that'd make a sailor blush. Clients started bailing like rats from a sinking ship, and by noon, Jessica's boss had called an emergency meeting. Daniel could almost hear the cartoon booing as her perfect life sprang leaks. Around 2 p.m., Jessica burst through the front door, mascara streaking down her face like she'd auditioned for a raccoon role. Her blazer? Wrinkled like yesterday's laundry. "What did you do?" she shrieked, chucking her purse across the room like a failed Olympic discus throw. "My boss suspended me. My clients are gone, even the big Johnson deal." Daniel looked up from his coffee, calm as a Zen monk. "Rough day at the office, honey?" She glared, trembling. "Don't you dare play dumb now. I know this was you. How'd you get those messages? Were you spying?" Spying? Daniel chuckled, savoring the moment. Nah, Jess, you just got lazy. Left your phone unlocked one too many times, chatted too loud at the BBQ, trusted the wrong gal pal. Oh, and Ryan? Daniel said with a grin. I got in touch with his wife last week, showed her all the evidence of his little house tours with you. She went full detective, and now Ryan's suspended for creative use of company time. Plus, his wife's ready to turn his fancy sunglasses into a bonfire. Jessica went paler than a vampire at a beach party. You talked to his wife? Yup, Daniel replied, sipping his coffee. She's over the moon, in a I'm filing for divorce kind of way. Jessica sank onto the couch, the same one where she'd texted Ryan 1,000,000 times, whispering, You've ruined everything. Daniel stood, grabbing a bag he'd packed earlier. No, Jess, you did that. I just turned on the spotlight. He shrugged. Oh, and I moved my money to a new account. Mortgage is due next week, since you wanted the house in your name for credit points. Have fun with that. She lunged, grabbing his arm. You can't leave. What am I supposed to do? He pulled free. Ask Sarah? Oh, wait. Probably not after she heard you mocking her husband. Jessica hit the floor, sobbing like a kid who dropped their ice cream, except this time, no one was buying her a new cone. Please, Daniel, we can fix this, she wailed. He paused at the door. Fix it? Nah. Oh, and check your credit card. Somebody's been splurging at hotels. Your boss might want those receipts. He walked out, her screams echoing behind him like a bad breakup song on repeat. His phone kept buzzing. Sarah was still raging. Ryan's wife posted a public thanks on Facebook, and the neighborhood gossip mill was churning faster than a blender on smoothie day. Emily, his sister, offered her spare room, but Daniel opted for a hotel. Time to breathe. Jessica's world? Officially toast. A few days after Jessica's mascara-streaked meltdown at home, Daniel was sipping coffee in his construction shop when his phone buzzed with a voicemail from an unknown number. It was Jessica's real estate agency. Her formal termination letter was on its way, citing gross misconduct after Daniel's email barrage to her boss and clients. Seems her big deal properties were reassigned to a rookie agent who'd barely mastered the photocopier. Daniel chuckled, imagining Jessica's face when she realized her career had crashed harder than a discount drone on its first flight. Later that morning, Emily swung by with a grin and a bag of donuts. You won't believe this, she said, tossing him a sprinkled one. Jessica tried crashing Sarah's book club last night. Thought she could smooth things over with a sob story. Turns out, Sarah had already shared Daniel's recording of Jessica mocking her husband to Lisa with the whole group. The ladies didn't just kick Jessica out, they chased her off with a barrage of paperbacks yelling she'd ruined their vibe. Emily cackled. She's got a black eye from a rogue copy of Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen's Revenge. By afternoon, Daniel's inbox pinged with a forwarded email from Ryan's wife, Tara. She'd gone nuclear, filed for divorce, sold Ryan's prized golf clubs on eBay for $1 each, and posted a viral video titled Cheaters Never Putt, featuring Daniel's evidence pics. Ryan, now jobless and clubless, had texted Daniel begging for mercy. Call her off, man, she's nuts. Daniel replied with a shrug emoji and blocked him. Jessica's fling had turned into a boomerang, smacking them both right in the ego. That evening, Daniel was packing his truck to move into his new apartment when Jessica pulled up, tires screeching like a bad action movie. She leapt out, hair wild, clutching a half-empty wine bottle. You think you've won, she slurred, waving it like a scepter. I'll sue you for everything. Daniel leaned against the truck, unfazed. With what lawyer, Jess? Your credit's tanked since you maxed out that card on hotel brunches. She froze, then hurled the bottle at him. It missed by a mile, shattering on the driveway like her last shred of dignity. Neighbors peeked out, filming the fiasco. Jessica's viral debut was now trending locally. Daniel drove off as she screamed into the night, leaving her to face the wreckage. The house, still in her name, was hers to lose. Foreclosure loomed since she couldn't pay the mortgage solo. Emily called later, laughing. She's crashing at her cousin's now. Her mom kicked her out after hearing that BBQ tape. You're a legend, bro. Daniel felt a flicker of sadness. 8 years don't evaporate. But Jessica's smug, "he's too clueless" laugh replayed in his mind, snuffing it out. She'd built her castle on lies, and he'd just flicked the lights on. Settled in his new place, Daniel scrolled through updates. Jessica's ex-clients blacklisted her, Sarah's crew dubbed her the backyard betrayer, and Tara sent him a thank-you fruit basket with a note, "Karma's sweeter than pineapple." Jessica's last desperate text, "You'll pay for this," got no reply. She'd gambled on Daniel being a fool, but the house always wins. Last he heard, Jessica was hawking her blazer on a resale app, captioned, "Gently used, like my ex's trust." Tough break, Jess. Turns out underestimating your clueless husband comes with a steep return policy. A few weeks after Daniel settled into his new apartment, divorce papers freshly signed, Jessica decided she wasn't done yet. Fueled by spite and a mysterious loan, rumor had it she'd sweet-talked her cousin's shady bookie, she hired a lawyer who looked like he'd flunked law school via mail order. She slapped Daniel with a lawsuit claiming he'd defamed her, ruined her reputation, and, get this, caused emotional distress. Daniel nearly choked on his coffee when he got the summons. "Emotional distress?" he muttered to Emily over the phone. "She's the one who turned our marriage into a reality show audition." Jessica's plan was to paint herself as the victim, a damsel undone by Daniel's vicious lies. She strutted into the courthouse in a thrift store power suit, tossing her hair like a budget soap opera star. Daniel, meanwhile, showed up with a grin and a stack of evidence thicker than a phone book from the 90s. His lawyer, a sharp woman who'd seen worse cases before breakfast, suggested they round up witnesses. So Daniel turned it into a neighborhood circus. He called up Sarah, who arrived with a PowerPoint titled, "Jessica, the Backyard Betrayal Files," complete with dramatic sound effects. The neighbors brought popcorn and testified about the wine bottle driveway debacle, one adding, "She threw it like she was aiming for the Olympics but forgot how to aim." Jessica's lawyer floundered, waving a single blurry photo of her crying as proof of distress. The judge, a no-nonsense guy with a mustache that screamed, "I've heard it all," wasn't impressed. "Ma'am," he drawled, peering over his glasses, "you're saying he ruined you by telling the truth? That's like blaming the mirror for your bad hair day." The courtroom snickered, and Jessica's face turned redder than a sunburned tomato. Daniel's evidence, recordings, receipts, texts, rolled out like a greatest hits album, proving Jessica dug her own grave with a sparkly shovel. The case got tossed faster than a salad at a vegan picnic, and Jessica was ordered to cover court costs. Her loan? Poof! Gone, along with her last shred of dignity. Back at her cousin's cramped apartment, Jessica hit full meltdown mode. She trashed the place, sobbing, "He's turned everyone against me," as if the sofa cushions were her new jury. Her cousin, fed up, kicked her out, yelling, "Pay me back or sleep in your car." Panicked and broke, Jessica packed her thrift store suits into a beat-up suitcase and fled town, muttering about starting over somewhere far away. Last Daniel heard, she'd landed in a nowhere burg, probably still blaming him for the weather. Meanwhile, Daniel was at Emily's place for a chill dinner when she introduced her friend Jane. "She's sweet, cooks like a dream, and doesn't fling bottles," Emily teased, shoving them together. Jane, a soft-spoken woman with a knack for lasagna and a smile that could melt ice, hit it off with Daniel over bad puns and garlic bread. As they laughed, he quipped, "Jane and Jessica both start with J, but that's where the similarity ends, unless Jane's hiding a secret hotel tab." Jane giggled, promising no drama, just good food and kindness. Daniel raised his glass, thinking maybe this J was the upgrade he'd been waiting for. Simple, sweet, and sans revenge plots. If you enjoyed the story, please subscribe to the channel. I wish you a great mood and good luck.